Hello everyone, this is a variation of the Armchair Psychology of a Karen idea that I have. This time we are going to be watching a Karen compilation, and we're going to be kind of just making comments and talking about some of the Karens that we see in this compilation. It's only about 10 minutes long. This is just a variation on the Armchair Psychology of a Karen idea, and I just wanted to show you guys a couple of ways that the idea could go.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to a brand new episode of Public Freakout Videos. Up first tonight, we watch on as an angry Karen aggressively approaches a woman who is parked outside of her property. The Karen confronts the young woman as she tries to figure out why she is parked outside of her house. The young woman says that she is buying something from the Facebook marketplace and this is where she was told to meet. This old boomer Karen still does not understand and completely loses her mind. This is one of the best public freakouts we have featured to date, so let's play the clip and see how this whole situation went down.
My parking spot,
Yeah,
I own this property.
we're-
What marketplace?
On Facebook Marketplace, we're picking something up from the lady who
I
lives in that
don't care.
guy's house.
This is not a f***ing parking spot.
Do you know you're supposed to? It's COVID.
Get
Why are you?
Why are
We're
you
filming
off
you.
my
We're
parking
filming you.
right
You
now?
are filming
You've
you
been
right
here
now.
half an hour. I don't care.
I
I'm
haven't
getting
been
the
here half
police.
an hour. I've been here.
I'm
Call
getting
the
the
police.
police.
Call them right now.
I am. Get
Call
off
them.
my- Just you
Call them.
see
I'm
what he
here
says.
to pick up
I
something.
don't care.
I have permission
Don't
from
park.
the person who lives here.
Yeah, you're
I have
not
permission.
here. Not
Yes,
here.
I do.
Over
Yes,
there.
I do.
Okay, so this is definitely a situation where the woman feels like something has been taken from her. We can clearly see this because she keeps saying, this is my parking spot. She is probably embellishing with the half an hour thing. She's just irritated that she probably saw the woman before, did something for maybe 5-10 minutes, came back, the woman's still there, and so she's upset. I think that the reaction to the situation is a little overblown. A couple things that I want to note real quick. This compilation is from 2 years ago, and the channel that put this compilation together is called Public Freakout Videos. But back to the Karen. I don't think that it's necessarily wrong that she's upset someone's in her parking spot. If this is in fact like a assigned parking spot, I'm not entirely sure I can't tell from the context. Are we in a apartment complex or what have you, or is she parked in someone's driveway or in front of someone's house? It looks like she might be parked in front of someone's house, and the Karen took this as a threat or upset that the woman's parked in front of her house and she views that as her parking spot, and she's upset about it. And the thing is that I don't think that's not even necessarily wrong to be annoyed that someone's parked in front of your house, or that someone's parked in a parking spot you perceive as yours, especially if it's around your property. I think the reaction here is what earns her the Karen title, because it's very aggressive for something that, a simple conversation. Hey, can you not park here? Can you move? The person's here for a Facebook marketplace sort of thing. This could be resolved fairly quickly. And yet it went from 0 to 100 because Karen viewed this as like either a direct threat or is just extremely territorial.
Over there.
Okay, I'll
Not
park
here.
right there.
Yeah,
I'll
go
park
there.
there.
Well, yeah,
Where
go
do you
now.
live? Which house
Go
do you
now.
live in?
I own all this property.
This is all your
No,
property?
but yes.
Okay, so
Oh,
I have you on
what's going
camera then.
Who are you picking it up from?
I'm picking up from the lady who lives
What's
in that
her
house.
name?
My son is in
What?
the back car.
Who's this?
Jacqueline. Her name's Jacqueline. She lives there.
I don't give a where she
My
lives.
son is in the f***ing car. He's a baby. Get the out of my face.
And up next tonight, a man storms into a Planet Fitness gym armed.
So that was the end of that one. This woman, I think, from what she was doing, she was pointing at, like, it doesn't seem like that would be her parking spot. I'm a little confused with this Karen. At first I'm like, okay, I think the reaction was a bit overblown given the perceived infraction of the person coming to pick up something for a Facebook marketplace. But was that even like tangentially related to her property, or did she just not like seeing an unfamiliar car?
Breathing rights are human rights. Breathing rights are human rights. Planet Fitness is engaging in crimes against humanity by making their employees and their members wear masks.
I don't call the police.
Okay, well then you're gonna
Call the
have to leave.
police.
I will.
I don't care.
I will.
Breathing rights are human.
This is a perfect example of someone who has a wrong idea of oppression, because clearly he views, because this is during the pandemic, everyone had to wear masks, this was a public health safety issue, and he is making it about rights. No one's saying you can't breathe. I hated that whole discussion of you can't breathe with masks on. Is it harder to breathe with masks on? Yes, especially the fabric ones, like any thick fabric, it's harder to breathe through. But this was at a time when we didn't have a vaccine, we didn't know the extent of how bad COVID would get, and it was still very lethal at the time. So this was, I think we only had one variant at the time of this video, and it was pretty severe. So, and not only that, but you are in a privately owned business. Planet Fitness is a privately owned business that services the public, but it is privately owned, meaning that they own the space, they have authority over the space, and as a representative of that company, she can ask you to leave. And you should comply with it. Yes, they can call the police on you. Yes, it would be trespassing at that point because it is privately owned property. This is just one of those things where you can see that he thinks he's doing something amazing. Like, he clearly views that he is standing up against this oppressive regime. And that's why he's being so flippant and fucking rude. It's just a complete false sense of oppression, and it's entitlement.
Rights, guys. You don't have to wear a mask in America.
Come on, dude.
You don't have to wear a mask in America.
Take them off, guys. Let's go. You want to be a slave?
First off, don't say that.
Why do you want to be?
Oh my god. What? I forgot about this argument. Oh my god. That was offensive on a couple of different levels. Y'all know racial element that I'm not gonna touch that one with the 6-foot pole. Y'all know what he did. But to say that to wear a mask is equivalent to being a slave is fucking offensive. Holy fuck. That to compare it at all is just fucking bonkers. You don't have to wear a mask in America. People that, if you are on privately owned property, they can make whatever sort of rules they want to a degree, barring, infringing on civil rights and civil liberties. Wearing a mask does not infringe on either one of those because it is deemed by the government necessary for public health. And not only that, but it doesn't prohibit their ability to vote. It doesn't prohibit their ability for free speech. It doesn't do any of that. You're on privately owned property. If they say that you have to walk into the gym with a tuxedo on before you change into your gym gear, they can make that requirement. You don't have to go in. You don't have to give money to their business, but they can make that requirement because they're a privately owned business. And you don't then have the right to push your way in and use their equipment while violating their rules. That's not how that works. This isn't a publicly owned park. When we say publicly owned park, we mean parks owned by the government, by the state. Because the state can't own anything and prohibit people from going into it without safety reasons. 100%, once you cross that threshold, if they ask you to leave, you have to leave or you are trespassing.
Be a slave. This is a lie, dude. This is all a lie.
You're not a member.
This is all a lie.
Get out.
This is all a lie, man.
Get out.
Breathing rights are human rights.
What's your name? You want to get a shout out?
Actually, yeah, I do.
What's your name?
My name's Sophie. I work at Planet Fitness.
Okay.
And you are kicked out because you're not wearing a mask. as it's the law.
So you want to be a
follow
Nazi?
every other law. You follow every other
You're a
law.
willing Nazi?
Do
You're a
you
willing
follow-
Nazi?
Do you follow every other law?
It's not a law.
Yes, it is.
Again, this allusion to oppression by calling her a Nazi. As because that what he's doing right here, we can clearly see he's invoking the travesty and atrocity that was World War II and what the Nazis did. He's purposefully trying to bring that narrative into the situation where it has no place of being. And this is what I mean by a false sense of oppression. You are not oppressed. You are not like the Jewish people in World War II, not even close. You are not a slave. Wearing a mask does not make you a slave, and to compare those two is just fucking bonkers. False sense of oppression at its fucking finest.
And up next, we have an anti-mask wearing male Karen who has just been refused entry to a store. The employees politely tell the man that they cannot let him into the store without a mask as it puts the other customers' health at risk. The man goes on to say that he has a medical exemption and claiming that the employees are holding him to the store without a face mask. Let's play the clip and see how this whole situation plays out.
You're telling me that we cannot shop here, my kids, because there's only one person that can come in at a time. So you're turning away my children. There's no mask mandate in Texas for children. You understand that, right?
Sure, absolutely.
So you do understand that. So you're violating the law.
They're not violating the law. Once again, this looks like it's a Trader Joe's privately owned business. They can say everyone, even children, have to wear a mask in order to be in the store. They are not depriving you of anything. Again, entitlement, you act like Trader Joe's is the only thing around. I highly doubt that. You can't tell me that there's like an Albertsons or something near you. All these whatever the fuck your local grocery store chain is. But it's not, and I love that invocation of you're doing this to the children. So that is a very clear guilt manipulation tactic of, and it's a way to make the person feel like what they're doing is inappropriate because it would be an adult picking on a child, when that's not what's happening here at all. Their store has a policy, everyone must wear a mask. This was at the height of the pandemic when there were even mask mandates. And while children may be exempt in Texas law, that doesn't mean they are exempt in all stores or all policies. This store wanted you to wear a mask. They have that right. This store employee is not doing anything wrong by not allowing your children in because they are not wearing a mask. This is both entitlement and manipulation.
First of all, my federal right, you're harassing me and discriminating against me because of my disability. You understand that?
So I don't know if this is a disability where he thinks that he shouldn't have to wear a mask. That was a very nebulous exception during that time. I want to know what disability he has. Not, and I'm not saying that everyone has to disclose their health information, but this was at the time of like the height of the pandemic. There were mask mandates. Everyone was wearing a mask. I understand their concern, and I understand why they would want to know why he isn't wearing a mask and his kids aren't wearing masks. This isn't discrimination, though. This is also policy. If he doesn't have any proof, maybe their policy requires proof. Like, unless there was anything that said you cannot ask that in the Texas legislation, because I don't think there was anything at the federal level saying you couldn't ask. They're doing their job. But he's entitled, and he just wants to have his way.
Do you understand what the Americans with Disabilities Act is? You do? So you're just disregarding it, and you're having this be an experience that my children have, because I'm not going to stand down on it. I actually have a legal right to walk in here right now. I'm just being courtesy to you. You right now, this is called holding me hostage and against my will. It is, because I have a right.
No, it isn't. Oh, that actually pisses me off. No one is holding you hostage or against your will. You are not prevented from leaving the situation. Again, the way this is trying to be manipulated as though he is a victim, in the most horrendous way possible, acting as though there is like a civil liberties and civil rights violation going on because he doesn't want to just leave the store. He does not have, just because he may have an exemption under the mask mandate, there are some stores that can say, no, you have to wear a mask. The whole disabilities thing and whether someone had to wear a mask or not was very nebulous. I would need to revisit what the actual language was for people with disabilities not wearing a mask, but I think, if memory serves, during this time, again, this was 2 years ago, but most places offered some sort of, curbside pickup or something. You could have done that. There were options for there. I don't think it happened in this particular situation, but there was another, I remember seeing another situation where someone said that they had the ability to not wear a mask because of a disability. And the person's like, well, we still can't let you in the store, but if you give us a list, we can do the shopping for you. That's what's called reasonable accommodation for the person with disabilities. If they offer that to him, that is a reasonable accommodation, and they are within their rights and within the law. And I know I'm always one to do a bunch of disclaimers, but just for the sake, just because we're talking a lot about legal stuff right now, I am not a lawyer. Not a lawyer. Just want to put that out there.
They have a civil right to shop in public, in places that are open to the public. This may be a private.
That I have a civil right to shop. I fucking can't. I'm sorry. That I have a civil right to shop without a mask during a pandemic when there's a federal mask mandate. And even if you provide, I don't know if they've provided any level of accommodation to him, but even so, it's like, this is not the same as saying you can't shop in here because of your disability. You can't shop in here because of your religion. You can't shop in here because of your race. Those are violations of civil liberties and outright discrimination. This is not. This is a very complex situation involving a pandemic and a mask mandate and a public health crisis. It's not the same.
Establishment, but it conforms to federal law and federal mandates and state mandates and local mandates. Correct. Yes, correct. Absolutely. Yeah. That's, you know what? That is a violation of law. You cannot just one person at a time whatsoever. Look, I'm going to walk into the store. If you would like to call the police, you can. Let's go, kids. Come on. Let's go, kids. If you touch me, you touch me. Don't touch me, kids. Let's go. This is absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to shut my entire...
And up next, we jump into the
That was fucking bonkers. I can't believe that he just pushed his way in, fully felt comfortable showing his face on that one. It sounded like there was a rule of one person in the store at a time. A lot of Trader Joe's that I've seen are very small, so I could see how they would have that limit. So he wouldn't be able to go in with it. Like, there's so many layers to that. I cannot believe that he behaved that way. The entitlement and the sense, and it was clear that he thought he was doing something that was fighting for justice of the situation. And that is the thing. I think sometimes Karens use this sense of justice, like fighting for the small guy sort of rhetoric to justify their terrible actions. You're not fighting for the little guy. You're not fighting for your rights. You're just entitled.
The guy filming decided to speed up, which resulted in causing the accident. The guy filming does not seem to see it that way though, which causes both parties to go at it for quite some time. Let's take a look.
Alright, so this guy's really upset.
It's fine. Why can't take responsibility for your actions, dude? It's a road, share it. Don't barrel down the road and not let people get over. You caused the accident. But you can't take responsibility because you're a little girl and you gotta run to mama.
Okay, sure.
Dude, did I hit you? Did I come down the lane, barreling down, and you were trying to change lanes? No, I was trying to change lanes and you're like, F you.
That's not at all what happened, sir.
What happened? Did the tooth fairy hit me?
No, actually, I was in my lane and you hit me.
That means you hit me. If I hit you, you'd be back there. I'm in a van, dude. I knocked this thing off the road.
Oh, okay.
Wow, that's mental gymnastics logic. No, to me, this seems like it definitely happened in the U.S. American road laws. You are the one that is responsible for making sure that there's enough room for you to change lanes. You are supposed to be, I believe, at least a car length and a half ahead of someone when you get to, that way there's that buffer zone when you get over, like there's, or when, I think when you're trying to merge in the space that you're, the entire space between one car and the next when you're trying to change lanes, is supposed to be the length of 3 cars, I think. I would need to double check that. No one like thinks that technically when they're changing lanes, but there is like a guideline and a general rule to follow when you're changing lanes. You clearly, if he is driving and you did not have that much space available, you are the one that's changing lanes. It is your fault. It is not his fault for hitting you when you clearly changed lanes when there wasn't enough room.
Okay, well, if
I
you
was
want to
already
say...
in the attempt to make the change lane when you said F you and sped by me. When I have made the attempt to go into the other lane, you have the responsibility to slow down and let me in.
And up next, we feature a...
That's interesting. You have the responsibility to let me in. No, he doesn't. That is entitlement right there. And actually right there, that feels like it's very in line with the fat acceptance movement. Like, I don't know why, but I get the before and after photos feeling from that. Like, it's your responsibility to not post things that make me feel upset. It's your responsibility to make sure I'm safe when changing lanes, even though clearly I did not have enough room. It's that sort of mental gymnastics logic to avoid responsibility and to simultaneously attack someone as a way of not taking responsibility for your actions. Alright, and that was pretty much the end of it. There were 3 that I skipped. 1 because I didn't have anything to say. The one at the end here also because I didn't really have it. There wasn't really much to cover. And then 1 might have been worth covering, but she kept throwing out slurs that I don't want to include in this video. And she kept saying it a lot, and I don't think I'd be able to censor all of it. So I'm leaving out those 3. On the whole, this is just an idea of if I did the compilation route of Armchair Psychology of Karens, kind of just taking a look at their entitlement, trying to get into their mindset, as well as in terms of old COVID Karens or even some new Karens, how their logic and their grasp of the legal system and that sort of thing is off. So that was just my perspective. Those were my thoughts. Let me know what you think of this sort of video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.